35 years ago, when we came to this place as Deccan Development Society, this region called Zairabad looked devastated. There was no greenery anywhere in the vicinity of 100 kilometers. People had very little to do and very little to earn. So both ecological and economic disaster was resident in this area. To address this, the first set of initiatives that the Deccan Development Society DDS took was to restore the land to some modicum of productivity, tend the earth, erase the scars that had made earth scorched, and restore the fertility of the earth. To make this, we worked for almost 10 years by destoning, adding topsoil, bringing in natural manure, and making the earth habitable again, cultivable again. Once this was done, we started planting on the earth. By this time, 5,000 women had joined the Deccan Development Society. Women who were coming from the margins of the society. Socio-economically, the most deprived people. But they had a gusto. They had a courage to face the challenge and rewrite their future. And with this courage, they said that we will regreen the earth. They started planting many kinds of crops on the land. When the time for raising crops on these lands came, the women made some fantastic choices. For one, because of the extreme dryness of this area, this is semi-arid minded. They did not go for any irrigated crop. Everything had to be dryland, rain-fed agriculture. Secondly, they did not go monoculture. They thought, and rightly so, that biodiversity is the answer to make the soil healthier and responsive again. Therefore, their entire agriculture was a textbook for biodiversity. They planted more than 20 to 25 crops per acre of land, and these 25 crops were formed the entire rainbow of the food that they ate. Therefore, number one, rain-fed, which was not putting any pressure on the land. Number two, biodiverse, and therefore was a nature-based solution to the quality of the land that they had inherited. So with this, the women went ahead and covered tens of thousands of acres of land in this region and make them all green, fertile and smiling. Once they had addressed the cropland, the agricultural land, they started looking at non-agricultural lands of the area. Each village had something like 50, 100, 200 acres of lands which were called the village commons. And most of these village commons were dry, dusty and bald. The women said, we must plant and completely change the shape of these commons. In tune with this resolve, they raised neighborhood forests on all these village commons, and millions of trees were planted over a period of 10 years. Today, more than 30 to 35 neighborhood forests have come into existence, and they bring the women not only fruit, fodder, fuel wood and small timber, but also a lot of greenery that will make the land absorb rain and keep the land unthirsty. With their neighborhood forests blooming and with their croplands yielding to their maximum potential, the life had changed for the women. Now nature had blessed them 100%, and in turn they had said they would be 100% organic, ecological, and the lands that they had tilled was giving them multiple securities: food, fodder, fuel wood, health, nutrition and ecological. And with all this, they had become completely food sovereign. Nobody had to borrow or purchase food from outside. Everything they ate, they produced within their own communities and within their own households. This was a community which was completely different from the community that existed 30 years ago. Today, these communities are celebrating their accomplishment by working with the nature. And one of the celebrations is what is called Mobile Biodiversity Festival, in which all the diversity of their seeds, which they store in their houses, are taken on ox carts in villages, in procession, in celebration, in a mood of joy and glee. This is the overwhelming mood of the DDS communities as they have followed nature, as they have followed principles of biodiversity. And getting Prince Albert Award at this juncture makes them doubly celebratory, because as a small community in a corner of a large country like India, their accomplishment would have gone completely unnoticed. But Prince Albert Award brings it into focus. Media starts talking about them, and the government starts noticing them, and everybody starts asking, how did they do this? Therefore, everything they did over the last 30 years has come to the fruition, and the Prince Albert Award is an icing on the cake, and this is what makes them 100% accomplished and successful community.